Hello, welcome back to the Spy Party stream as we have two people who you've probably seen before because they just keep playing each other. It's Rob and Miniorek, who I'm legally not allowed to say are the two best players because Nebula said he would kick me out if I said that. Um, um, yeah, so two very, very strong players um, who I I would honestly venture to guess are, if not the two people who have faced each other the most, they're getting there because they've just been together in so many finals matches, so many just groups masters that I think they have played each other at least a dozen times by now. So very experienced with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's funny about this is even though it's being cast, this is let's see, I guess like depending on what the Grandmaster standings are, this is probably actually one of the more relaxed like spots in this for like if you get used to playing a player and it's like you're seeing them always in like the finals or like the semifinals that might as well be the finals or stuff like that. Like it's often like every time you rank this player, not only are you facing them, you're facing them in very high stress situations. This one actually might feel a little more comfortable. It is probably going to have a substantial impact on the outcome of this league. But it's not as bad as the actual finals. But that said, they actually both do need to win this one because the players in the rest of this league are, of course, phenomenal. And yes, almost certainly two of the top 100 players playing against each other. I guess we can keep it there, right? Like I think that's fair enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and also, actually, both of them automatically, because they were the two finalists of SMC 2023. They've all both actually have automatic passes to this year's SMC. So right now, both of them are playing for just like the actual tournaments themselves. Neither one of them needs to like come out of SML to try to set themselves up for SMC. But SML being really the only active league right now, has kind of like a standing of its own, and they really, really would just love to come away with that because that would prove something a little bit different than the tournament wins and even the large tournament wins.
Yeah,
And actually,
go for it.
no, no, no.
Okay. Standings wise, Miniorix actually got two losses, which is crazy. And I wish I had on hand who they lost against, 'cause that sounds fun. Um, but they really need to get some wins to not be demoted. Rav, on the other hand, is still lossless and seems to be doing great. Like they on the board, obviously, have a little bit less points, but compared to the three above him, they've all got more matches completed. So Rav is arguably, I think, in the best standing right now. And also, Rav has like a 15% win rate higher than just about everyone else in spy wins, which is crazy.
Yes. And so to your point on Mini, it is true. Unless I feel like what Mini should do is put money on the line for every single time he plays competitively, because Mini seems to show up when there's money. Mini's and like, oh yeah, I don't know why we call it Miniorek is only going to show up to play competitively for thousands for thousands of dollars. That seems to be the case so far. Where I don't know why that is. But Mini just like has this ability to show up in those extremely stressful moments, and then does has in the past tended to fade away in things like group stages and leagues, where when it's not those super high stress situations, maybe it just doesn't quite bring them in as much, or their opponents are not stressed out, and then they just fade. They fare better in those situations. So that actually is not totally uncommon, but this would be a great chance for Mini to prove that they have the ability to show up in these kind of like regular season moments, these not quite as stressful spots. And agreed. Actually, when I first saw these standings, I was like, man, why is Rob so far down? You are right that it is a little misleading because literally everybody above him has played more games. Honestly, it looks like it is going to be kind of a pile up at the top. Legorv looking really strong. I don't think I actually clocked that um, until now of how good Legorv's coming out of a long competitive break. That's really fun. Um, yeah, but yeah, Rav still wants to actually win out here because there are some other people that threaten for the top, and Mini actually, you're right, needs this to stay out of relegation. So there actually is decent amount of stakes for these two players.
I mean, I will also point out in the way of Rob is lower than he actually is on there because he has less games. Mini is also only on 4 games when everyone but Rob and Mini have 5 or 6. So Mini probably is closer to 5th or 6th in theory than in 7th, but obviously needs to get some wins because they just don't want to be at the bottom. And it's getting to that point where these wins definitely matter.
Yeah. And is this? I feel like it would be too tempting for this. Is this in the betting league? This one because I feel like there'd be so much money bet on this one. Yeah, I think it's random, so I don't think that who puts that on Damp.
Damn scope, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that they put the finger on the scales for this, but um, they should if they could, because this would be like the kind of Super Bowl that everyone just all of a sudden put a bunch of of money on recklessly. So if it is in there, there'd be so much $5 on this. But I don't actually know if there is. I'm struggling and failing to find the it's Pofke OP this week, so no money on this one. So any betting on this is just the good old fashioned cash style thing. If anyone wants to throw in bets right now, I mean it's already been played, but yeah, throw them in the chat. Throw some bets at each other. Um, let's get into the draft while we do this very legal thing of possibly trying to bet on SpyParty. The draft is we have Rav banning balcony and Miniorek banning veranda. Not surprising. I think that's pretty common from both of them. Rob is going to restrict Aquarium. Um, uh, uh, there's maybe a little bit of storyline there, but I think that's going to show up later in this draft as well. And Miniorek restricts Ballroom. I actually don't know if I expected that. That might be a. I'm assuming that these players haven't been mixing it up too much, but I'm a little bit surprised that Miniorek's restricting Ballroom. That might just be targeted at Rav. Um,
I
but
think that's
then
more just targeted on good players in general, because I think most players up there really, really like Ballroom, and I'm not sure Mini's the biggest fan of it, comparatively.
that's true. But then we have these very so the picks are interesting, but then I really really like these delays and multiples. So we have Rob picking Ballroom, Redwoods, and Terrace. So something that's going to stand out there. Although again, we're a ways out from Mini being kind of far and away one of the best players on Redwoods. Miniorek used to be top player in Redwoods, and that was a few years ago where it was very clear. And other people have started to catch up where it's no longer like a pocket pick for Mini. So it is, but still to me it is interesting. And you would think with Rav being such a famously good sniper that they would tend away from that. But I actually do like it because this is, to me, Redwoods is a spot where snipers can actually skill express even more. Because honestly, there's not that much skill expression on for sniper on veranda. Having a spy high sniper win rate on veranda doesn't impress me much, as Shania and Twain would say. Um, that was I'm way too old. Should not be making these kind of references. Um, but Redwoods, you actually have to express your sniper skill quite a bit. So I really, really like that pick. But then after all that gushing I'm going to say about it, he picks Terrace and then kind of gets my point where whatever. And then from Miniorek, we have Aquarium, Modern, and High Rise. Um, and then we have a delay of Ballroom, a delay of Terrace, and then both players multiply Redwoods. What do you feel about that?
I mean, clearly these two players know each other very well. So if they're both multiplying Redwoods, I think they both just feel confident on Redwoods. And I mean, honestly, this could be either way. You don't see too many people multiplying the same thing, but I guess both people have practiced Redwoods leading up to this would be my best guess, but I honestly don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of nerve-wracking. I don't know who had the pick order. I'm gonna guess it's just in the order in that in the output here. So yeah. There we go. Nebula confirms that it's Rav because I'm guessing that the picks and bans came from the output and Rav was up there first. So it might have been a little unsettling for Rav to multiply Redwoods and then for many to be like, great, so do I. I like that you multiplied Redwoods. So we're gonna have a fun situation here where we're gonna have a two of the top 100 players playing each other on Redwoods. What 8 games in a row to start off this set? Am I right?
Well, it says multiply, but multiply is basically add two. So even though you're multiplying it twice, it's really adding two twice. So it is going to be six.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right. Right. I thought I was treating the first one like a double. Thank you. It is 6. It's not 8. It should be to me. It should be 2 times 2 times 2. So it should be like what is that? 2 times 2 times 2. It
That's
should be 8.
eight.
There we go. I was hoping for it to be something more. I'm not a math guy. Anyways, yeah. I want to say more 5 less than 10. There we go. All right. Well, we'll get into it. So we'll have 6 games of Redwoods to start off. And then I'm not even pay attention to how the delays to restricts do or how the delays affected stuff because all that I care about are these first Redwood games, and then we'll deal with whatever comes after.
Yeah, we got 6 of these to go through. So this is going to be whatever 16 game set. This is a good percentage of it. So let's see how who's going to end up regretting the multiplying.
All right. Playing for the first spy game on Redwoods, we have Rob as Seek, starting in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And let's see. I'm curious if both of them choose the same ambassador on this. I think that Tex is starting to slide up as a more common pick on Redwoods in particular for the reverse. I do like the big body of Taft, but you're already getting so much obstruction with Redwoods in general. You might not need it as much. We do get highlights for possible inspect, and then there's the potential there that we are also going to get paired. Right now, they just look like inspect highlights but very much could have gotten paired from the very beginning, and it would be a correct pairing by Mini.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Mini's top alert pair. I think this is more just they were at statues right away, and it might have had something to do with some research because they've obviously played each other like 50 billion times. But just seems like a natural inspect highlight. But if it is a flirt highlight, we're probably gonna get seen because we're going directly next to our ST right away.
Yeah, indeed. And so the opening we had so far is single statue inspect, single statue inspect. Their flirt during the first statue inspect. We're going to intentionally red test this flirt, try to make it look like we never talked, and then we're going to try to join our seduction target. Are they good? Oh, they really almost came up to us. This is a really cool play. Oh, there is a low light on our seduction target. We're gonna have a direct. We're over. Oh, I see what it is. It's making it look like a purloin. I'd actually didn't realize that that's what that meant when of course Teal had purloin because she was at bookcases, had a drink. The only way for her to get a drink was to be at the bar. The low light is sticking on Teal. This is a disastrous game for Rob if that low light sticks because we would completely trying to throw either a 50-50 or just frame on Teal entirely there. So yeah, could be real bad for Rob going in here, even though again the theory makes sense.
Yeah, I do really like the play from Rav. Like, if you see that as the sniper, you're automatically going to assume that's a purloin. You're not going to think that's a red flirt. But I mean, unfortunately, I assume it wasn't seen. And also, Teal's low lit, so it doesn't matter anyway. And I don't think it was seen because we clearly don't know where the purloin came from because we still have other people up and not just us and Teal. So it was a good idea of a play, but unfortunately, it's not really going to pay off as well as Rob is hoping.
Yeah, and for a lot of instances, I'd be like, okay, there's a lot of game left. Anything could happen. We are kind of talking about this game like it's already over, but I don't think that Mini after this kind of play is gonna get shaken from this. So I'm feeling like 99% sure that this is gonna be a spy loss. So just in case people might not be as familiar with what that little gambit was with the red test flirt. So we are going to go in for the bug here, and the path alone is going to be enough to get a shot. And as predicted, because Teal wasn't cooperating and going into a conversation for contact, where that is what would have been the mission that we'd have done before that, we just tried to take a stab at bug because, again, like we said before, Teal not being as cooperative as we wanted to. If let's say that went in a different sequence, and let's say Teal was kept in the pool, Teal would be visiting a statue that could be, in theory, finishing inspects if she got that inspect on the statue that we picked up at the beginning of the game after, because she was at bookcases. She would have Purloin inspect, could have been flirting with us, and if she had gone into a conversation we were able to contact with, would be finishing up with 4 missions there. That had the potential for a really great frame. Of course, Minnie was able to sniff it out and would have been good anyways, but just to go to show that if you throw things out there, stuff can happen, but just not able to get the contact up in time. And of course, Minnie sniffed it out early enough that we weren't in any trouble.
Yeah, I do want to point out the sequence of events of Rob seeing the seduction target is finishing inspects, nodding, knowing that they probably are going to get shot, not seeing the shot and thinking, oh, now I have to actually do missions because we're not going to get a timeout, and going for the bug. And it wasn't the great bug, but when you have 20 seconds left after something like that, that's the best bet you're going to have. So I do really love the play from Rob there. And it just, unfortunately, it didn't work out, but it would have been a great, like, starter game of this set. It would have absolutely, like, set the standard.
Yes. Like you were saying, Minnie just had a really good read, but actually a pretty good, solid game from Rav. And I will finish talking about what that kind of purloin thing is as we get started in the next game. So we have Miniorek as Irish on our second of 6 games of Redwoods, starting in 3, 2, 1, playing it. So for people that might be familiar with Bar Purloin, you have a talk animation when you do this. Oh my God, Minnie, you're getting such a gift of getting this beautiful series. Oh, we only get a white test though. But our seduction target joins us at a respectful distance, and we are not forcing anything. And seduction target's also going to leave first, so that we get to walk away with this book. And Miniorek takes this book, very doubtful that I think that Minnie's actually going to try to do a transfer with this. But the fact that our seduction target left with book means that the seduction target's also going to go back to bookcase, and we can go to bookcase again to finish up that flirt. We are going to be putting ourselves in a little bit of position where we want our oh, interesting little move here. I was curious if we're going to try to do something else. That is only I am trying to talk about way too many things at once. We want to not put our book back yet because seduction target's out. There's not that many things we can do with the book in our hands. One of the things we can do with the book in our hands is pick up briefcase. So we try to go win that race for briefcase, and because seduction target's still not going to microfilm, we are going to put it back before seduction target because they have not done what we wanted them to and presented themselves up for another flirt attempt. So what was a really, really wonderful start is now actually ended up burning a decent amount of time for us, and now we're actually a little bit hurting.
Yeah, great, like, idea in the start, but unfortunately it's not paying off. And Minnie, knowing that it's not going to pay off, is going to the seduction target, is going to get a 66% flirt, which is still fine. So we just need one more close white. So we don't even need a green to finish this up. But unfortunate because we would have finished it up if it was 2 greens instead of 2 whites. Um, but yeah, now we have a minute and 45 left, and we still need a flirt, and we don't have anything else done. DA is coming to us, and we're going to take a real banana bread. But even then, we're still going to need to do more to win this game.
Yeah, absolutely. So I made the mistake of trying to keep squeezing in this Perlin explanation. I'm almost going to give up on it, but I will take this moment because it looks like anything's happening. You talk when you send a person to delegate. One of the things you can do to obscure your talk is to stop talk right after. The other thing you can do to obscure your talk is right after you talk, you leave conversation circle, so you have a split, and so that 2 people leave the conversation circle at once. So at first that was a really strong strategy, but now snipers are kind of attuned to it. So when you see a person that has a pro-line option and the person next to them both leaving conversation at the exact same time, you might have a little alarm bell in your head going off that one of them could have been potentially doing a send here. And in fact, we are going to be probably trying to grab a purloin option here. I don't think we're throwing a send in for this one. I think this is going to be us picking up the delegate.
Yeah, I don't see a reason why we would be direct pro-landing, but we are going to get a fingerprint off this drink, which does give us what our probable other mission might be. Um, Ambassador is still holding their briefcase, and I don't know where other prints are because I haven't been paying attention because I'm not a sniper. But yeah, we are probably going to send a delegate and then get a quick print in the next 20 seconds.
Yep, so we're going to send here and bug on our way out. Oh, we actually do not opt for that print. I think you're right that we were trying to set ourselves up for either one. I think we are going to get shot when this purloin comes off. Here is the moment of truth. There is going to be overtime if Rob wants to wait for it, but Rob does not want to wait for it and instead takes the shot immediately. So kind of a fun position for Mini to put themselves in at the end there, where they did have two options. They were always going to be sending to Bling Twin. But then either they could bug on their way out if Ambassador stays, and if Ambassador leaves, they leave behind a briefcase. I don't know if that's actually what they were thinking at that time, but in either case, you have a mission. You have a chance at mission wins. Like a lot of the times, you're like putting yourselves all in on the whim of a cast member. Like you're like, I gotta go to that conversation circle, contact double agent. If double agent leaves, I'm screwed. I gotta go finish my flirt with that with them while they're at Windows. If they leave before I get there, I'm screwed. But ambassador in that scenario, if they stay or if they leave, there's a window for them to finish up missions. So I do like that, but of course, it's you're doing hard tells, and Rob's really good at catching those.
Yeah, really, really solid game. Honestly, a really nice shot because, like, from the sniper's perspective, you only see that path and you cannot see any of the arms. But yeah, really, really good game for both players there.
Yeah, so even though we start off with two sniper wins, pretty good spy game so far. And again, this goes to show that Redwoods really, truly is controllable as sniper. It's just hard. So I feel like I defend Redwoods a lot, even though I am personally terrible at Redwoods. I just think it has so much skill on it. So great spy game so far, great sniper game so far. We will see if that continues going on as Rob steps into his favorite Duke starting in three, two, one, playing it.
Yeah, I was curious when this was going to show up, and I'm glad it was early, so I didn't have to bring it up like 5 times throughout this set. But yeah, we're just going to sit in an idle conversation, just getting a glimpse at the party, seeing a prince happening on bar. We're presumably getting a time mat here. We are. It's a green, and we're just going to bail, and I quite like that.
I like it. It just the positioning of it. It's hard to tell if. So when you're in Redwoods, you're not really sure what fraction of the screen the sniper is looking at. So either it was definitely on camera, but usually the sniper is looking at one half of their screen or not. So there was a lot of action going on the left hand side, and the only thing on the right hand side was Duke. So if we were looking at Duke, it's very obvious, but we'd have to only be looking at Duke here. That said, it is a character pick that Rob really likes, so I wouldn't be totally surprised if Mini has caught it and this game is basically done. But I can't. Oh, it is in fact totally done. This game is over. We have a through conversation highlight completely obscuring it. I really did feel like we did get seen there, so I was just kind of waiting to see if we'd have proof here. But I think this game is another 99% game where Mini has felt out Rob's strategy very early on.
I honestly want to say that this highlight isn't for the timeout, and in fact for the fact that Rob has tried to get into the conversation 3 separate times and has been blocked out. The first two, and then also the third time, the ST immediately leaves. So if you see that as a sniper, then that's just a spy trying to get a seduction target. So if that was the catch, then that's still really nice. It also could have been something with pathing, because, when you get up this level, you have to think about pathing, but not sure.
Yeah, you're actually totally right that there are other reasons we could get that stealth highlight. It's kind of bad no matter what. But yeah, I was always just thinking about the time at just looking at the other situations. Looks like they did have struggle getting in there, and especially if we go into this spot in the talk. Oh, looks like it's with Disney. We are going for a pretty respectful distance on this. ST leaves conversation again, which Rob hates. Rob probably doesn't know how much trouble they're in. They probably think they're just in trouble for time management. But right now, boots, as they say, those boots are meant for walking, and that is what she's doing.
Yeah, I mean, like at this point, we might need another time ad because if we didn't have that time ad, we'd have less than a minute on the clock, and we'd have zero mission progress. But unfortunately, we have a minute and 30 on the clock, and we have zero mission progress. So we at least have something. And now we're getting a green flirt, which, if Minnie has been paying attention to our conversation, probably knows that that's the seduction target. We just flirted, bailed, and now we're in blue bookcase, presumably doing something, which is fingerprint.
And not only that, we're actually also next to Disney, who we might have some seduction credit with. So this is actually problematic in many different ways. It still seems like there's not much else going. I will say, Smallman has picked up a highlight. So at first, if we were just literally the only highlight all game, of course it's just a done game, and Minnie's just getting research all game. We are going to pick up this fingerprint. This might just be it right here. Yes, indeed it is. We weren't even close to being done, but just in case Mini felt like they missed something, they're not going to pass up that opportunity. I want to look again at that highlight timing and see how much we were trying to get into that one conversation. So we tried to go in there, we path by once. We try to get in there, we do go cross conversation circle, and that is when we get in there. So let's see. Uh, yeah, we have that one. We pass by to bar. We then get we pretend to briefcase redirect. We again get bounced off the conversation circle. We go to conversation far away, and then spot opens up, and we once again try to go in. And Ponytail takes our spot, and we eventually finally get in cross conversation circle, and ST immediately leaves and wants nothing to do with us. Curious about which of those two, or if both of those led to the highlight that ensured Rov's death. But in either case, Minnie is picking up on Rob so far.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like I know pathing, so I wouldn't know, but it was a win for Minnie, which is the important thing for the scoreline. So yeah.
Well, it was like I think regardless, like in like if you're pathing or behavior or hardtail sniper, you had three different subtle ways of trying to get that right. None of them were totally obvious, but you could have subtle tell on being at windows, walking away, green time it. Subtle tell on behavior of trying to angle yourself for that conversation three times and then leaving pretty quickly early on when one of the characters ends up leaving. And then subtle kind of pathing stuff of maybe there was some small clips in there. So it could have been one of those, all three of them, but in any case, I think it required a little bit of a read from Minnie for any of them, which is not a great way for Rav to be feeling right now because I think that Minnie feels a little dialed in to Rob's specifics so far. So we'll see if that continues.
Yeah.
All right, we will have Minnie playing as Taft on what is this, game four? This is game four of six of Redwoods. So we still have we're half. This is the halfway point. So we played three games of Redwoods. We got three games of Redwoods to go, which is so lovely to say. And we'll be starting in three, two, one, playing it.
Now Taft is another one where it sort of blends into the background on some venues, and this is definitely one of them. Like the entire venue is just Taft colored, except for, of course, like the bookcases and maybe the fireplace. But it's just all Taft colored, and so Taft is absolutely good for that on this venue.
Absolutely. It looks like Taft, if there's ever chair sitting for this venue, it feels like Taft could just do like invisible spy play by sitting on the super brown chair on the right hand side. We are picking up a fingerprint. Taft is also briefcase colored. Well, actually, his shirt is more briefcase colored. But he's relatively briefcase, so sometimes he gets away with how holding briefcases. He's actually blocked a little bit. But we are, in fact, going to do a full return, not going to try to do anything too sneaky there. Have a sip cancel on our way out. And so far, we end up basically back in the same position as we started in, but with one fingerprint in hand.
Yeah, we've just had a lot of idling from both players so far this set, which really shows they respect each other, which is terrible. They need to get back into fighting each other ruthlessly so that we can see more fun things instead of people standing in conversations doing nothing. Uh, but, you know, if it's good for winning, I guess that's fine too. So, but we are
Right.
gonna get a BB.
You're like the opposite of one of those old boxing refs where you want to see only things below the belt and you don't want to see a clean fight. You want to see a messy below the belt fight.
I mean, that's mostly a me thing. Also, like casting, it's better. But you gotta just take swings at some point. You can't just be sitting around. Like these are two very very seasoned both snipers and spies. So I may be wrong, and they're doing better. But these have been very slow, methodical when they need to be taking a little bit more opportunities.
Absolutely. And like while we were doing that whole extended discussion, there was only a contact done. And so this kind of speaks to what you're talking about with like the pacing and like the risk taking so far. We might see a risk here because this might actually be we might be in the territory where we have to go for a swap. We'll see what Mini does on the way out of this statue, but I wouldn't actually be too shocked to see a green swap attempt here. But we do not, and so we have partial progress on 3 other missions. If there's a fingerprint here, I like this, but otherwise, it feels like we're doing way too much for only part of missions.
Yeah, this would be, it's definitely not a fingerprintable one. So I think we're thinking we're just not going to have enough time to do an inspect and a print and a flirt. So we're taking a delegate just as a measure, but this sort of locks us out of doing inspects. I really hope this is a time ad, but we're already less than 30 seconds. This is already a big risk to do a time ad, and I think we're in trouble time-wise.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's we stayed even too long to do the time ad there. You know what's interesting there is Rob had a camera shake, which I was surprised about. Because it seemed like they were really expected to have. So this is the setup for a time ad, and Rob is very feels like very carefully keeping Taft on screen. And there is a 0 second time ad here. We do need to send this purloin pretty soon to make it seem like there is the option of there being something out there. So we only have these 45 seconds left. The delegate timer is actually going to time out first. So I'm curious how Mini plays this. I feel like we're gonna have to do a second time ad. I think that is actually the thing we have to do. Maybe we could do a green swap now. We are gonna white swap instead, but there's gonna be no overtime.
Yeah.
So feels like a kind of easy shot there. And Rob actually could have even waited for overtime, but opted not to because they just see the white swap.
Yeah, with the path there, I believe he was trying to use the time ad as a way of saying, "Oh, this is actually just a green swap," but there would not have been any overtime. So if Rob had waited even a second after the swap, they wouldn't have heard beeps and they would know this cannot be boots because it needed to be a time ad. That did it, and Tap was the only one at Windows. So I like the idea from Miniorek, it just doesn't work, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that actually, so while I'm right now, so we're through 2 games of 2 sets of Redwoods. So far, I'm worried for Rov in the sense that Mini seems to be dialed into Rov's play. And I'm worried for Mini that, like you're saying, Mini might not be taking enough risks early on to combat Rov's kind of sniper so far. So right now, both snipers look very locked in, which is actually kind of the opposite of how they looked in the SMC finals. They actually had kind of rocky snipers in here, but now with the pressure being a little bit more in the normal kind of zone for them, still high for most of us, but not as much pressure as they've been in. Their snipers are very on point, and their spies are a little bit cowering in the face of the other one sniper. So we'll see if that continues. But I am hoping, like you, that they'll be taking a little bit more risk.
Yeah. And this is Redwoods too, so it's not like it's a venue you can't take risks on. So, but either way, we should probably get on and see if there's any risks for the last 2 games of Redwoods.
Absolutely. All right. So admirals are good at taking calculated risks, I would think, unless he's just a boring bureaucratic admiral. But we'll see. We'll test. We're gonna test admiral slash general, whatever you want to call him. I prefer admiral because it's less phonetic complications. But I don't know if he's earned that yet. He probably actually has something on his person that says whether or not he's a general animal. He's got 3 stars. People can Google that. But in the meantime, we'll be starting as guy with green hat on Spy in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I don't know about the medals, but I believe in the actual like code somewhere he is nicknamed General. somewhere I read. I could be wrong on that. So I think that technically means who's a general, but who knows? Uh they're definitely bureaucratic though. That I can say for definite sure.
And it's got all those cool little stripes that to me. Oh, we have this. So is this this is actually the same as game one. We are at statues. We are potentially paired with our seduction target, and we have one inspect. Oh, we get clipped on the way out, and we are doing a standing inspect, and it gets oh god. So I will say that was a cool attempt at a cheeky play, right? Fun play right there that might have worked out for us. Where at this moment we would be finishing in specs. If White Dress hadn't taken that, we were taking a risk by staying in front of the bookcase, taking a standing inspect, and then walking away and then finishing inspect here. It does not work out, and instead we have again an exact replica of the first game where we inspect, flirt, go at another single statue inspect. We might have even fingerprinted after that last time too. So far, a very familiar feeling game.
Yep. We at least have some progress, and we are gonna finish one of the missions, which is inspect. So already doing pretty nicely. Um, but we do need to worry about how this is going to play out for the rest of the game, since we have inspects, and I highly doubt Miniorek has missed any one of these three inspects. So Miniorek almost certainly knows.
Yeah, absolutely. And even in theory, mini oh, we're gonna go. So theoretically, we could have inspected 5 statues. The only statue that we haven't taken a gander at, in theory, is left side red bookshelf statue. And on this statue, we are gonna take a swap. So if this swap is seen, just statistically, it's going to feel like, even if you don't care what statues, this is actually a really quick take. This is actually very unfortunate. I think this is actually quite bad for Rob timing wise. We really wanted it to be there to be more in between us and the take, but Rocker went real fast, and here come the lowlights. I don't think there's a possibility we don't get shot here. There we go. I was gonna say actually I'm a little bit surprised that Mini was even taking a risk of not seeing something like maybe some insane bug that we missed or something that we didn't see and not shooting right away. Let's see if there were more than 10 seconds between the swap and the time that the shot finished. So if that was a finish, there was a little bit risky there. But if we saw the fingerprint, we might not have been worried at all. And again, it was kind of unlikely for us to be done with 4 missions at that point. And once again, Rob is a little bit on top of. Mini is a little bit on top of Rob's play. I do think that Rob wasn't intending to play that game that way, and just after they missed that one inspect, kind of just committed to this like super statue heavy, crazy would AI would a spy do this kind of play.
Mhm. I do really enjoy this play. I'm not sure on Prince. We were already probably going to be getting that anyway if we were an AI, so I don't hate it. Um, but also, if you look at when the statue swap happens, Ambassador is completely off screen. So I think Minnie was staring at that fate anyway. So I don't think we were going to win anyway. But I mean, obviously, we don't know because it didn't happen. So great game, though. I love it.
Yeah, and again, I hate how fast that Rocker came to us. Like, if Rocker was like the only person anywhere close to the statue, so if Rocker was just not there, it was going to be a while before someone actually had to call on them, and that was going to be real good. Because if we could put some time between us and that statue take, maybe we do a banana bread as they head in, or have something else going on. But like you're saying, when the swap actually happened, it felt like very safe to be just looking at Rocker, even just for a white swap, and then the fade was extremely clear.
Yeah.
Regardless, we will be stepping into the next one where so far Sniper Party. We'll see if Mini can break that so far, but again, Mini will probably have to take more of a bold stab. We are going to be the less adventurous of the twins, so not a good indication so far. Playing twin in 3, 2, 1, playing in it.
Playing in it. How dare you? Yeah. Notably, our the Bling twin is an SDA, so we are the only twin that is actually doing anything, which I don't think is going to matter for a sniper like Rov, but it's still something to be aware of.
Yep. We're gonna throw a little redirection in on briefcase, and we're gonna head next to. I think we're closer to salmon. Yeah, we're closer to. I think we're closer to salmon than to ambassador if we want to do the send. Um, we'll see if that happens here. There has been a decent amount of people going back and forth between bar. So it would be interesting to send in there. That said, because there's so many people at bar, it also does mean that Rob is going to be watching the drinks more carefully. So for things like sends, there's going to be a little bit more going on. I do think actually we waited too long for the send, so I actually don't think anything's going to happen with it. One of the other consequences of there being a lot of people at bar, it being a small bar, so there can only be such an amount of window. We are going to do the send to general. I don't think there's enough time. Yeah, it's just populating the bar. So maybe I was wrong actually when I first said that. I guess we could have maybe sent that in and taken time, but by the time we did that second one, that's just getting more people to bar.
Yeah, interesting send to general. I don't hate it to get more activity. But we are gonna get at least get some progress with the 51% flirt, and we are gonna get a briefcase. I was gonna say we were gonna go finish that flirt, but difficult fingerprint. It seems to fail, which is unfortunate, but I don't think that that's gonna be the end of this game or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely not. We'll be stepping into Purloin again here. So I had started talking about this before we did the send and redirected myself onto that. But one of the consequences of there being more people at bar is that sniper can be paying more attention to the delegate. So not only are they more likely to be watching you as a potential sender, even if they're not watching you, but watching the other people, if they see everyone else, let's say there's 3 delegate options out on a map at any given point. And let's say, like, I think Teal and Boots were 2 of them. You can watch one conversation, and then if you see the Purling disappear, you know it wasn't one of the 2 of them. And it had to be the other person or that was the direct, and you have a 50-50 at that point. So again, sometimes on a map like this where there are consistent bar visitors, but there's still a limit on how many people can be at bar at any one time. It's still a little risky to do purloins in here, and we will see if indeed that happens because Red Dress can be taking the purloin right now after the double agent takes, and Rob has got to be tempted to shoot, and does.
Yeah. Wow. Not entirely sure why the shot other than the purloin, if we had a suspected bug or something, but I mean, it's the right shot, so good shot.
And Rob seasoned enough to just not even. By the way, I don't know if this matters all too much. Rob actually prioritizes keeping Minnie on screen over seeing the physical evidence of the purling disappearing, rather just noticing that the triangle doesn't drop. The triangle is actually a better way to track it than doing it. I still find myself looking at the list every once in a while when I should only care about the triangle dipping down or not. But Rob does, again, especially on Redwoods, where if you don't need to see Toby to keep track of them, you don't need to actually prioritize vision on them at all. And it has a nice catch there. And I think you're right. Like, I think we just felt like we had to shoot in that scenario because maybe Minnie pulled off a bug or something.
Yeah, that honestly just shows really good respect for Mini Spy from Rob. So, I mean, good shot. That's right. So,
Very good shot. It is so while there's half of me that's disappointed that we walked away from Redwoods with Sniper Party, 6 sniper wins in a row, but I will use it as a opportunity to hop on my hobby horse and say Redwoods is not unbreakable as sniper. It really isn't.
mhm.
It is a fair map. You can do it. You just need to be a little bit different in your way of approaching it. There's enough opportunities there. Redwoods is a great map. It is still good for spies. It's not unfair for spies, but it is also not unfair for snipers. So well done to both those players. They did both have a good handle on Redwoods. They both thought they had good snipers on Redwoods. They're both willing to multiply it, and they do show both pretty good control of the venue, but do end up walking with the tie so far.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and we're moving on to yet another venue that I'm sure everyone's thinking that is a huge swing one way or the other. It's Aquarium. Wow, a different venue.
Yeah, true. It is true. And the thing with Aquarium that I will give it is I'm bad at Aquarium, but I do heavily respect it because I do love the fact that there's a reliable like you know exactly where the shark is going to be from the very beginning. You know, I don't know, I couldn't tell you, but you know as soon as that shark appears on the screen in the first 2 seconds where the shark is going to be at 4 minutes. So you know, well, I guess at 4 minutes it's gonna be off screen because at the very end of the game, unless there's a time at it, just off. But regardless, you can know where it's gonna be at each point in the game, which is in theory cool, but too much for me. But we'll see if these much better players are able to keep track of it and make plans.
Yeah.
All right, we will be starting as a teal. Rob has the first go of it. Teal on Aquarium in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, I mean, Aquarium has so many intricate plays you can do, and I'm sure both of these players know all of them. Uh, Rov notably, I believe this was Rov's for strict, so Rov not as comfortable, I would assume. Uh, and Mini probably has some sort of idea of what he wants to do here. Uh, but we'll see what Rov does.
Yeah, and with Aquarium, so with Aquarium, there is a different kind of paranoia to Redwoods, where Redwoods has what I consider to be more of like a generalized anxiety about what the spies can be doing on the map, where Aquarium kind of breeds more specific paranoia about what a particular character might have accomplished behind the shark. So you can I guess Redwoods, it's harder to tell a coherent narrative about what a potential target could do that could induce a shot. You're just kind of worried about everyone a little bit, and maybe you saw the tail end of what they did. Where Aquarium is like, I know exactly what they could have done behind that shark, but do I want to credit everybody in that conversation circle with potentially going for that bug? So, like for example, I don't think we're going to be forcing Ambassador out here, and there's like 4 people that maybe they shift their feet and go for a bug there, but Mini looking very hard at that to try to ensure that that in fact does not happen. We have a
But it
standing bug
does.
though.
Oh, it's a standing bug. That's true. I didn't realize that was that close. But yeah, I don't think that's seen. I think Miniorek had a great look at it, and I don't think Miniorek's expecting a walking bug to happen there, and probably thinks there's no walking bug to happen there. And he's right, because that definitely doesn't look like something that would be in standing bug range, and I think Rav might actually have that completely clean.
I agree. I actually was very surprised that we were able to get that bug from that range. So the new term that's come out is kind of golden range bug. We're able to get it from far enough away, and I think you're right that we're also, by the way, really committing to standing here. We're gonna throw a fake out. In fact, it is gonna have an SDA in it. So we are still going to pick up a highlight, which Rob could confuse for a low light because we have been doing nothing in this conversation except that bug behind here because we really don't want to seem like we're trying to get away with something afterwards. Very patient play from Rob so far. We are going to squeeze ourselves in this conversation circle, and that might be a little bit bad. So a little bit of a mixed bag in here in that there's quite a bit going on, and there's going to be a second banana bread, which might be confusing to Mini if Mini tracks this well enough that we realize that Teal is in a separate conversation and isn't looking at someone else in particular. It might double down on our fears about Teal, but if not, we are about to have 3 missions done with a lot of time left to do that fourth one. Oh, sorry, I should say a lot of time. A respectable amount of time to deal with that last one.
Yeah, Rav definitely does not have too much time left and is gonna get shot, so crazy. All right.
Yeah, it had even less time left than we thought. There was 43 seconds left on the clock, but no seconds left on Teal's life, unfortunately. So I don't see that's actually interesting to me because I feel like Rav Teal, let's say Teal couldn't have done any other missions than the 3. So that was just a shot of confidence, and maybe just Mini was just like, I am just actually kind of sure of it by now. But like, there was never an opportunity for Rav to have transferred, swapped, inspected, purloined, or fingerprint. The only three possible missions we could have done were seduce, contact, and bug. So that felt a little bit early. Nebula was
Yeah,
telling me
and
say
you're
he
right.
talks leaves at the end, which is just enough to kind of force the shot. I will say, still, um, not a threat shot. A suspicion thought, but well done by Mini and still kind of locked into Rav, even though Rav had an excellent bug. So Rav, I want to say, I don't know if this is right. I think Rob is playing better spy so far, but that Miniorek is making better reads so far, and Miniorek is still yet to take a really strong hold of their spy game. But I don't know necessarily that Rob has had been tested as much as Sniper. Regardless, it's been still Sniper Party so far.
I mean, both their snipers have been completely on point. I agree. I think Rob's just a little bit better on spy, but Miniork's just keeping up completely. So yeah, this is yeah.
All right, all right. Well, we will have Mini stepping into Aquarium as Ponytail, starting in three, two, one, planet.
Yeah, Alice is absolutely just gonna take a drink right away. It looks like we're just going to go for a delegate right away and try to get it not seen, but I don't know how well that's gonna work.
Yeah, I do feel like, well, I mean, Irish is only the only one highlight so far. Maybe for going near. Oh, it's fingerprint. Sorry, of course. Oh no, it's not fingerprint. Ambassador didn't take a drink, did they? Um,
They were pushed out by Irish behind the shark, so Irish is definitely a highlight for a bug here, I think.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right. So far we have what looks like an opportunity for this. We're probably gonna do the send behind shark, I would guess. Oh no, we're gonna do a cross conversation, come back. Oh no, we're not gonna come back. We're just gonna appear on the other side and do the send from over there. So that's interesting. Normally when you see the send, did we not do that send?
We did do it.
You're right. Boots has an invisible drink. Um, So Boots right now, there's flashing on Boots. I think Minnie knows that it's not the spy though, and that it's bugged out. So yeah, well, we'll have to see what happens here. So luckily, this is early enough in the game. Miniorek has an opportunity to adapt at this point, but this is a tricky position. I actually don't know who this is worse for because Boots just sitting there is kind of an attention seek. So Boots is stuck. So this is an easy. Rav is taking the easy low light on Boots, and that Boots is not going to leave the rest of the game. So even if they are spy, if they leave, that's going to be noticeable, and so they kind of take themselves out of the equation, and that's actually good for Rob. Is that we stop paying attention to Boots and start looking at the rest of the party.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen this bug before, so it's interesting, but obviously a little bit of a unfortunate for Miniorek. Honestly, I think that Purloin would have been seen, so I think maybe it would have been a better position than not, but I'm not, honestly not sure. Uh,
Yeah,
but
and
we have
also
a minute and a half left, and we still have no missions done, so we do need to do something.
yeah, I think I agree with you because one of the other things with Boots is you're almost certain that Boots is bugged out because of something that the spy did. So it's
Hmm.
not like you think, oh, was that a? I think that wasn't an attempt at a bug. We're just gonna take the shot on. Yeah. So like if let's say that Rav uh, knows it was possible that there was a send on Boots and was tracking it to see if a Perlin went off, it maybe is almost as bad because that doesn't happen with AI, just normal interactions, because you would have seen it before. It's probably something really weird. Oh yeah, let's actually go back and see if there's anything that happens at that moment. That Boots has a drink. That's part of it. So Boots is mid sip. Is that why? So Boots is oh, it's like a frame. It's like frame perfect. That's what it is. Boots has a frame perfect send on I think frame perfect or near frame perfect. Because certainly we've seen sends during sip before, but I've also never seen this bug. So it seems like the drink disappears and interrupts the disappearance of the drink. so that there's like a mismatch, so to speak, between the visual of the drink being gone, but like also that the drink is like the character thinks the drink is there, the game thinks the drink is not, and so the character goes to the bar, but thinks they have a drink, but the game doesn't think they have a drink. That's my kind of like vague non-programmer guess. Um, so unfortunate for Mini there because they weren't trying to track the sip at all. They were just trying to go across the conversation and send the delegate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the only person who really knows for sure is Checker. Um, so yeah, I don't know.
I I
Or
don't know if
does
Checker
Checker
would
even
go.
know?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fair.
okay.
That's fair. You know what? Yeah, I take that back. I don't think Checker knows either. Um,
I thought you were gonna
maybe he'll
say
figure it out.
Martini, and like I would say maybe I think
No, no, no.
Martini. The order of people that might know what's happening is Martini, and then there I would say like 4 or 5 people, and then Checker. I think Checker would figure it out. I think he's got the opportunity to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
But again, I'm actually surprised that they're. This is a bug. This is a bug that I think we would have seen before. I'm actually shocked that I'm seeing a new bug in what is not a totally uncommon scenario. People sip all the time. It's a long time to take the sip, but I guess it's just got to be that last frame. So
Yep. So
yeah, but still, yeah. Anyways, a little bit unfortunate there for Mini. I agree with you, Guggy, that I think we were going to be on top of the purloin. I mean, still, we'd have to worry about it being like a purloin frame and all that kind of stuff. But if we noticed that Alice switched position and conversation circle and did the send, if Rob saw that aspect of it, I think Rob was going to win that game pretty much no matter what. So hard to tell exactly. At least it wasn't a scenario where we're like 10 seconds left when the drink take should have happened and like we were low light and almost certainly would have been a win if not for the bug. So do feel good about that at the very least.
well, we're moving on to a different venue, which hopefully will not have the same bug happen again. Which is Terrace.
Indeed, indeed. So yeah, and this is a map. See, Terrace is a map I feel like we would have seen this bug on before because there's so many people crammed into this map that would have been finishing last sips at the beginning. So, but again, we'll see what happens in here. So we'll have Rav starting off as Red Dress on Terrace in 3, 2, 1, playing it. I would give the advantage, in theory, I would give the advantage to um, uh, Mini on this. I think we're gonna see 2 sniper wins, but oh my god, there are so many people at bar. That is actually so. I'll take a second here and say that this is a really good bar for Rob in multiple ways. Of not only are there going to be lots of Perlin opportunities, although a lot of those that are at bar currently are going to be are going to leave before they take a drink. But what it represents is a pile of ambiguous flirts. You can't tell who is flirting with who, and everyone could be flirting with each other. It's a terrible thing for Terrace because if you one of the things you can track the most and do differentiate your 50/50s is people positioning themselves for flirts.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I also like that Rob is seeing that and is like, he's gonna suspect all of the bargoers. Let's go directly to statues and get an inspect, which I really appreciate. I don't think that Rob's gonna get. Now, obviously, if Rob goes to another set of statues, it might be a different story. But I don't think that at least this first one is even remotely like noticed or pinged in Miniorek's mind.
No, I think that that's right. It's a really cool strategic move because it really doesn't seem like if okay, we are going to throw a fake off here. Common to have fakes on terrace like this. I would say that's a pretty non-controversial fake because every single person that was out of conversation was staff. Although that's what you can call them. I'm call them staff. Ambassador staff was only ambassador. So it's a no cost fake in theory, except for the behavior that happens after it. So right now, we do really have this party narrowed down, weirdly enough. Mini seems to be taking lots of risks because they think that Rob wouldn't do certain things. And we now have only one highlight left from what was really. And then we get highlight. And looks, oh, we get, or, oh, that's sad. I actually really want to see how the rest of that game played out. That's a bummer.
I mean, that was definitely a bunch of pathing lowlights, I would assume. And that was certainly a pathing shot, 100%. But yeah, very unfortunate for a somewhat risky path of going around somebody to fail.
Yeah, and if we'd hit it, though, you're right that that might have been an opportunity for pathing low light. Like Rob might know that uh, 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 AI consider that little tip, that tiny little tip of bar space in front of general as a valid location, even though humans it seems like weird and disrespectful and like intrusive. So is going for something like a pathing low light, but gets caught around the edge. I will say, at least this is another instance where it wasn't like we were way ahead and threw it away on this. Mini was doing a really good job of taking control of this party. Really good response, and what I thought was a really having low lights, like you're saying.
Yeah.
All right,
But
well,
yeah.
we will step in for the next one. What do you if you had a guess what you're gonna see from Miniorek on Terrace? What's your prediction?
Well, I mean, for the most part, I think Miniorek on Terrace likes purloins more than anything, but my guess would be a spy loss. I don't know if that's what you were guessing, but given the fact that we're 9-0 on snipers, that would be my guess of what Miniorek's going to do is get shot. There you go.
All right, well, bold prediction here from Guggy. I think it could also be a time, but no, actually, I don't think Mini is going to time out. That actually be. I think you're right. It's probably be a spy shot, but I would love to see how the spy gets shot, and we will see that in three, two, one, playing it.
I have been saying a lot against the pacing of these players, but I don't even think either of them have hit timeout. Mostly because they haven't had the opportunity because they've been shot before they had the opportunity to time out. But neither of them have timed out. So they clearly have some sense of pacing that I'm wrong on.
No, well, they put themselves in weird spots because, like, for example, Taft on Redwoods, or was it Mini? Ooh, now I can't actually remember who it was. Actually, I think it was Mini Taft on Redwoods. Had to do two passes at windows at the end. Did a 30-second pass at the fireplace window. Did not do a time ad there because they were being watched too closely. And then went to the front windows at like 0 seconds. Did a 0 second time ad. Was green test, and then got shot for the swap. Okay, we have the banana bread up there, so there are people being eliminated. Only one, and this isn't. So the last time we saw the banana bread was a fake banana bread, and there were like really two evenly distributed conversations. In this one, there's a big conversation with everybody at the double agent, and a small conversation with also I didn't notice this Smallman standing in the exact center of the conversation circle, like the maniac that he is. Don't know if that's an anti-tell. I guess it would be.
It's definitely not an anti-tell. Like you could first off, it happened directly at the start, so you could. That's a bug, by the way. But that would happen directly at the start. So you might not even take control at that point. But also you could obviously just go there. But yeah, we got a bug, and we're not even highlight for it, which is crazy. We might actually get a win on the spy side.
I actually agree. Like that was a very strange bug. I don't know if Mini intended for the bug to work on the way that it did, but what happened is so normally rotating as you do a walking bug is bad because what it does is it widens the angle of visibility on your bugging arm, right? But that one was like he whipped his arm around so fast it was hard to see that it was extended. Oh, and unfortunately, seduction target leaves, so we actually could have pacing problems, especially now that seduction target's going to statues. I imagine we're going to be going to statues in here. We do drop. We're playing with the highlights on. Ooh, this is difficult. So we are going to wait for seduction target to leave statue. We're not going to brazenly go and join at statues. There's a good chance that general comes into our conversation circle. They might go cross. Oh, double agent takes the spot that we would have wanted flirt to go, or sorry, seduction to go in. So instead, we have to path to bar. Are we gonna? It'd be funny. This is like the exact same spot as general in the previous game that we got shot at for going around. We don't quite go. There is gonna be no overtime. So I think both of us are gonna be wrong in our predictions. And in fact, Minnie is gonna get a spy win on Terrace off of a very strange bug. I gotta go back and see this because it seemed like just at the time we just moved our arm so fast that you just couldn't tell.
That bug is definitely, for the record, on screen for a second. I think we were just watching Tapped for Bug at the same time. So I think that was not a I don't want to say not a good bug because it was obviously good, but it was more of a well-timed bug than a invisible bug, which is really, really good for Miniorek and commendable.
Yeah, I do like it though because it still does. I like the way in which we dive in towards Ambassador, and then we try to use the rest of our body to kind of like turn the hand pretty quickly. So you're absolutely correct that it is on screen. Like you can go in interactive sniper, and you can or not remember sniper interactive sniper. You can replay sniper and kind of like go exactly where you're going. And you can see the hand out there, but the way that we just dive in, you can see the beginning of the hand turn when we leave conversation circle. And like you're saying, we might be worried about Taft at that point. And then you don't see a hand on the far side of the bug. So really cool there. I think I think if Rav was looking for a bug at that moment from danger, you would have expected to see it on the Kane side because you wouldn't have thought that the bug would have started before the dive in. So interesting play in there, and I am surprised. Like I didn't think that many was gonna be able to get away with a straightforward bug context seduce on Terrace, but is indeed able to. And now Rob is on the back foot and has to find a spy win on Modern. Um, and that's tough. That's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Rob is jumping back to the first spy that he picked on Redwoods to open up the set. What are we playing to, by the way, just so I have a sense of where we're at here? I think it's
8 to 9, yeah.
it's to 9. Okay, so it's not just Modern that we have left. What's after Modern?
It's Modern, Ballroom. It was the two delays after
Gotcha.
this one. It was Ballroom and High Rise, I want to say.
Yes, it is High Rise. Okay, so High Rise is breakable. So yeah, we'll just have to see how it plays out. I'm just always curious what the stakes are of this one. Don't love would not love to go into High Rise down a game though for sure. We'll see how it works out. So Rob steps up as Seek on Modern, starting in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I will also point out Rob, before this match, had a 50% spy win rate. I don't think it's 50% anymore. I think it's probably dropped a little bit at this point. Uh, but maybe we'll get some more wins. Who knows?
That is true. Yes. I don't know who Rob's played. Although like again, all the snipers in that league are pretty killer. But yeah, this is gonna sink Rob's spy win rate right back down in line with a lot of the other ones. Their sniper win rate, of course, will generally rise up. I think actually it was pretty high. Um, we'll have to see about that because it was like 80% or something. So it actually might be about not that much of a rise in his sniper win rate. We're gonna have a straight up reject, not a purloin possibility reject that looks like a normal reject. So normal reject, no purloin stuff coming out here, and instead just doing a cross conversation flirt with salmon and looking around to see what the party gives us. Ambassadors be on the move, so maybe something will come up with there.
Yeah, so Rob had an 81% win rate, which is tied for the second highest, and is almost certainly going to be like 85, I would assume, if they can continue to win every sniper game. But yeah, we need to get some spy games now because we're the spy is Rov. Uh, and it seems like we're not really doing all that much and idling more.
Yeah, and modern is like modern just has so much space. We are gonna flirt before taking book. It's possible that Minnie was looking at that because there's really like Modern has these spots in the during the timeline where nothing is happening except for talks in the conversation circle. Like right now, you might be worried about Purloin like coming off randomly, but again, if you're watching the conversation circles because that's all that there's to watch, you're also seeing the sends. And so you just have so much space. And right now, still, Ambassador is just completely safe at the book. We get a little highlight on us just for visiting Bar. And again, okay, so this time we are doing the thing that I thought we might have done the first time, but opted not to, and that was a stand close to the bar when offered, press forward during the delegate take, so that it looks like we just do a simple reject. That said, we picked up the highlight early, so we are going to still be highlight during this send, which almost certainly is going to come off because otherwise we want to commit to that. So I think Rob is still going to be in trouble here, but now it's just going to be kind of a straight purloin, and so things can still magically happen for us.
Yeah, and even though we still get the highlight, we do obviously have the benefit of not having a drink, which gives us an open hand so that when we send this delegate to Smallman of all people, we can go to the bookcase. We can go just do something else um, without having to worry about the drink in our hand.
Yeah, and
And
I'm
we're
a
gonna
little
go to
bit.
Blue Bookcase.
Yeah, and what's unfortunate about the oh god, we're I think that this well, I mean, actually maybe it's not. This would be so cool. Like I was like, I am watching. Right? Okay, no, it is not. Um, so I was conflicted about the blue book. So by going to blue bookcase, we might be worried about looking for an action test transfer because earlier on we were in the exact corner of green bookcase with a person next to us, and we're Sikh, so we might have been trying to obscure a action test. And so by going to another book, when we want to be not looked at, might draw attention towards us because maybe we're watched for just doing an action test, not even for the direct. But then we do the direct right as the purloin happens because we're hoping that right as the purloin happens, we're not looking at other stuff, and then we're back to green bookcase. So lots of layers there. Could have worked out, but just didn't. Minnie was on it.
Yeah, absolutely love when people just do missions at the same time like that. And it definitely could have worked. It obviously wasn't noticed right away. Honestly, if we had slammed the screen book instead of sitting there, it might have worked. But still really good play. And very sad it didn't work.
Yeah, I actually agree with you there. I think Minnie was looking at close enough that a slam was probably going to kill us either way. But just like by the timing, because purloin distracts both in the moment that the purloin is taken, um, because you're seeing that the fade is happening and there's like a second or so of recognition, and then purloin's a distraction for the next possible like 5-ish seconds as the sniper is deciding what to do, if that's low lights, if that's shooting someone, and if we are already being watched and seen closely, then we're just already done. So agree with you there, but I think that regardless in that game we were going to be dead. So Rob is not able to break on on Spy, and really needs to do well in this because he does not want to be playing for a tie on high rise for sure. Or sorry, playing to have to sweep high rise to get a tie. That would be tough.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
Miniorek, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, Miniorek, Irish game begin 3, 2, 1. I'm actually no 3, 2, 1, playing it. Sorry if I gave everybody a false start in that way. Hopefully we're all on track now.
My hand was not on the mouse when you did the first 3, 2, 1. Thank you for doing it again. But we're gonna get a 51% flirt right away, uh, and just chill out in this conversation.
Yep, we have a pretty busy bar. It's not insane though. It's only 4 people because of the SDA, so I don't think we're going to do anything too crazy with Purloin. It is going to throw some suspicion because it's evenly spaced. At least it doesn't have as much of the flirt pairing as possible because at least on the bookends, there's not really flirts available. We are going to position ourselves back in the center of this. It's kind of keeping it nice and full. Again, this bar still to Mini is going to look more full than it is because there are now 2 SDAs at this bar. So it's going to look a little better. And Mini just does a simple leave. It's kind of if I was worried at all about Irish, that looks like a flirt, but in fact it was not a flirt and just a flirt spacing. I'm assuming we're going to head back into conversation with Ponytail and try to finish the flirt early and never have to do it again after this.
Yeah, and we are gonna do that. So you are right, and we're gonna probably flirt here in a second here and get a green for 99. Everyone, or I literally winced when that happened because I hate it so much. But yeah, at least we're getting some progress.
Yeah, that's rough. What I will say though is Minnie knew that that was going to happen because when you see the flirt timer, we're going to do a. So this is a different flavor of drink walk away. I actually really like this one. The first one is a little bit more common of the position yourself close to it, do a tap forward when you take the drink and run away. This was just a run up and run away as soon as possible. If Rob was looking at all near the bar, it's very obvious that this is the spy. But Ambassador was in motion, and most of the time when people go up to bar, you have like a while before that person at the bar is a problem. So sometimes you don't even care about when they first go to bar. So I do like this play from Miniorek. We still have to see what happens from this, but the fact that we go into this, grab a book, send the purloin, we've got a book. Could it be us? That probably not. We got a book. How are we sending a purloin, right? You're really taking advantage of the fact that we have that open hand. As you mentioned the prior game, having the open hand, you can do other stuff.
Yeah, and notably when we did that, the ambassador was sitting directly next to people, so Rob was almost certainly looking at that not a bar. So really nicely timed.
And we do. It also lets us. Oh, we do get the low light. This is a bad position for Rob at this point because I don't think Miniorek is going to have any hesitations in trying to finish out this game. I mean, I say that, and we do need to go do something besides the contact. It seems like we are waiting to do the contact first. I do respect that, by the way. So uh, sometimes you could look at this and be like, we know we need to do 4 missions. Contact's not available. Go do the other mission. That is generally speaking true. But if you send off an invisible purloin that you're really relying on the sniper not catching the send, that puts the sniper in a really nervous position. And then if you go and do that other thing first, sometimes you waste the opportunity for there just to be a shot that comes off. And in fact, we are going to just do a fake now that Double Agent is in the conversation circle to put some pressure on Rov in that exact way. So we may see a Civ shot from Rov, which is pretty rare. But then we get brought back up. We get brought back up. Maybe for being next to Ponytail again, but maybe for the fact that we throwing off that seduction, or sorry, that contact knocked out maybe some of the other people that Rob was worried about sending the initial contact. This is a really weird turn of events.
Yeah, this is, I mean, I was definitely not expecting this, but we have 15 seconds left to go. We're going to do this contact, and then I assume we're going to have to bug, because I don't think we're going to be able to go to any of the bookcases at this point. We're knocking out 2 suspects here, and we're just getting shot.
That is, I really want to know what happened there because I don't know what changed Rob's mind. Because taking a low light, like I don't know, like to me that was invisible, right? Like if we never saw Irish at the bar, and then we only saw Irish at the book later, and we take that low light. I don't see how we come back from that because to me, I am never looking at Irish again in the game because I feel like I'm certain that that's like one of the only characters that I could see not do the purloin, right? Because why else are we taking that low light? Because like let's say if you don't see a purloin, you are actually very hesitant to take low lights because you're like, I could be low lighting them because I didn't see the purloin. I don't know what's happening. I thought I had a good grasp of it, but now what's going on? So I'm low lighting this person because they're like one of the only people that I feel sure about. That's crazy. I have no theories at this moment for what that neutral got back out. Clearly, it's related to the contact knocking out Salmon, but yeah, weird situation.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but it was correct, so it was good. Congrats to Rob for that phenomenal bring back. Yeah, both people played really well that game.
All right, so what are we at? We're at 5-7. Is that right? Or what's the score we're going into?
5-7, yeah. Rob needs to win, I believe, all 4 of the next ones to secure a win. Unless I'm doing my count wrong.
That is yep. So well, he's got to secure win. He's got to win. Yeah, I guess he could split and sweep. Oh no, he has to win. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, well before we get so we have high res at the end still, so we still have to get through ballroom, and Mini can win on ballroom alone if they sweep. So Rob absolutely still has to prevent that, but it was about to be disastrous to have to just do like the full sweep out of all the rest of them to even do to have a tie. So at least we've avoided that. So Rob maybe got second wind off of that really excellent shot But we'll see if they're able to translate that into anything on the spy side. They will be starting as Sorry on Ballroom in three, two, one, playing it.
Yeah, sorry. A lot of people think it's one of the best spies in the game. So definitely, if you're on the back foot like this, then sorry is absolutely a good choice. But sorry is also obviously very slow, and we need to actually do some stuff to counteract that. Um, so interesting to see what Rob does.
Yeah, sorry, slow on foot, but their slowness on foot one, just obviously some bug opportunities there, but also they have slow animations on statues. So on Ballroom, where you really want to fit all your animations in on center inspect, or especially if there's a fingerprint on a center inspect, some of the characters, I want to say it's like really hard to get all three statues and a fingerprint if you have fast animations. And Sorry is one of those that can actually fit it in there. I think they're a little bit faster than White Dress. I want to say White Dress is the absolute slowest, but I actually don't have that memorized.
I believe it's white dress, then sorry, then text, then smallman are the four slowest in order. But I think the bottom three are kind of negligible in speed for the most part. But I
Gotcha.
think white dress is the slowest by yeah.
By a healthy margin, yeah. She just
Yeah.
those such I was gonna say fragile arms, but I think it's just more grace. Okay, we are gonna throw a standing bug in there. One of Starry's strong points. It is gonna have Toby in between us and Ambassador, so we have a little bit of cover. Of course, if Minnie was looking directly at it, it is very viewable. But actually, we've talked about this several times. Sorry also blends into this map. She's got the right height for this map. Like if you look at statues, the bottom part of her dress blends in with the bottom part of the map, and her hair actually blends in with the shadow at the top of statues where she happened to be standing. So it actually was harder to see the head movement on that. I do not think the players were going leaning into this very specific thing, but that is an opportunity here. We do, however, lean into something else we're talking about here, and leading into the fact that we have really nice slow animations, no problem whatsoever getting those inspects, even though we started off with a white inspect.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Taking the inspects, especially after a bug, is a great idea. I think this might be a good solid game plan if the bug isn't suspected. Um, but it's impossible to tell at this point how suspected that bug really was. So we'll see.
Yes, very much so. And I think it's really going to come down to the fact that so Minnie's played a fair amount of Spy Party, you might say, and this is an archetype of a sorry win is getting away with the bug, center inspect, flirting, and contact with like this amount of time left. So I am presuming it's going to be that archetype, and so we'll just see if Minnie just feels it out as far as like really going far away, behaviorally interesting, um, and just taking this kind of like archetypical orange dress finish. Here it comes off. There is going to be a drink take near. It's going to be an SDA, so there's not going to be a lot of worry around it. So we are the only highlight on screen at all with 13 seconds left. But it seems like Minnie is really confident about the fact that Sorry is only 3 missions done, and in fact holds when they needed to shoot. And Rav is able to finally break Minnie's sniper. Great game. Pretty straightforward, but great game.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I really have nothing else to add. That was just a solid game.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is there's nothing really I like after the nice timed bug, which again was like pure theory. That's one thing I will say about the game. It relied very little on execution. There was like no execution needed on that in that thing. You just needed to take the timing. Like you positioned well for that standing bug, but it was just decision making, right? There was Sorry has slow inspects, so it really wasn't going to be a problem getting the 3 inspects in a sequence. You don't even need green tests at any point in that. The green tests were nice to get the flirt a little bit progress, but there was like very little reliance on green test, very little reliance on executing a bug at any time. It was just timing. And again, that's why I call it kind of an archetypical like sorry finish because it relies so little on execution. That again, the bug is the most execution heavy because sorry can get bugs multiple ways, but just well done by Rav. And honestly, not even like a bad hold from Minnie. It would have been a little bit worrying for Minnie to be taking a shot on just a center inspect visitor and someone who was in conversation and did a contact because Rob hasn't been showing a lot of games like that. So yeah, well done for both players, and Rob able to find the advantage finally. And Rob very much does not want to throw that advantage back towards Mini. So Mini will be as so you talked about one of the communally favorite spies as Sorry, now stepping into one of the communally least favorite spies as Wheels. Although I will say it is now also the contra pick for a lot of people. People are starting to feel like, okay, well, Wheels actually does have a lot of little advantages. But we'll see if those come into play in 3, 2, 1, playing it. How do you feel about Wheels, Gogi?
I think that Wheels' bug is maybe the worst in the game. I think like they definitely have a different bug that you have to play around differently. But I also think something that people don't think about a lot is that Wheels is one of the best of basically everything else. They've got a good standing bug. They've probably got the best microfilm. They aren't as small as Smallman, but they can still hide behind a lot of things. And I think that even though I think they've got a bad bug, they're solid enough in everything else that they can still do enough to make up for that, I think, and get away with it. And also, the bad bug means you aren't going to get credited for a bug you didn't take, uh, which doesn't happen a lot, but still can happen just enough that it might become a problem with other spies. But not for Wheels, I don't think. I don't think anyone's ever credited Wheels with a bug when they were the spy and they didn't take that bug. But
Right.
so, and we're gonna get a fake BB by the way.
Fake
Uh,
BB
which,
coming off.
yeah. But yeah, I think Wheels is an underrated spy because of that, but I still think people overrate Wheels' bug. People are like, "Oh, Wheels' bug is just different. It's not bad." No, it's still bad, but that doesn't make Wheels inherently bad. White Purloin might make Wheels inherently bad, as we take that, but it doesn't. Okay.
Oh my god. That went from that's shocking. Uh so okay, well let's go try to justify that shot. Okay, so it's Duke. Um what possibly could make I'm sure there's like bug as part of that, but like so he does contact and then go back. Maybe we saw the purloin but misread the fade, maybe? Yeah, we did see the purloin. So okay, so was he in the reject before? It looked like a runaway. So okay, well, there's a banana bread, and then there is it does look like a runaway a runaway reject by Duke. And then maybe we had a bug before that. I still think it's a little too early. What's that? 3 minutes, 15 seconds. Okay, there was a pass by. Yeah, there. So there could be bug. I still don't know about the fourth mission, but we're still nervous enough to shoot it. Um, so now I have to ask: was that an intentional white test? You would think
Uh,
not, because I guess at worst case scenario, a green test just extends it. So I'm
yeah.
gonna say no, because actually there's not really a point to doing the white test because you could just place yourself in that green chain. So never mind on that, because intentional white test is just for statue only. But um, surprisingly, that really came down to Rav not having a good enough read on the fade. If we were really worried about the green test purloin from Duke, we need to position ourselves just a little bit better. So what's funny is during that whole beginning of the early part of the game, I was like, oh, we have a really great comparison between Smallman and Wheels because Wheels goes next to Smallman, and we can see like the exact difference in height, and then we see another big difference between Smallman and Wheels, which is Toby does not kneel down for Wheels, but does kneel down for Smallman. So it's less easy to see when Wheels gets a drink offer, right? Which is, by the way, messed up, Toby. You're gonna kneel down for Smallman, but not for Wheels. Respect. And then uses some of that a little bit. Although again, not really that important because it's kind of a quick little thing over there. Uh, but we see then that come off right as that banana bread comes off. Duke does leave. I don't know how much to credit Mini with like constructing a really good frame or just reacting to that, but that is just still shocking to me for Rob to take that shot. But well done.
Rob is saying that Minnie did not intend that, so I'm just gonna assume that was I'm not doing anything, and Purloin seems like a fine option here, which is fine. Yeah, obviously. And I do also want to point out, Duke went from combo directly to bookshelf, which if you're doing a Purloin and you think you've got away with that, going directly to bookshelf is exactly what you do, 100%. So I think that's both the camping shot and a behavioral shot. That's just a good shot. But it's not the right one. It's just a good one.
Yeah, and it is good to at least go back and look at it. So that there is a reasonableness to it. It's not just Rav walking away from the computer for a bit and then rolling a dice and then shooting someone. It does have a purpose, but um, sometimes that's just how it falls apart. So that does feel a little rough. Rob puts together a really good, solid spy game that challenges Minnie on that one. And then Minnie gets a white purloin and doesn't die and instead wins off of a white purloin. Feels weird, but it did happen to come together in just such a way. So, um, interesting game there. But the result is still that Minnie is going to be up 8-6 on Rob, who so far, Rob is doing much better in Grandmaster so far. So, can't quite call it an upset when these players have played each other so much, and Mini had just won the set in a recent very high stakes competitive match. But still, always surprising to see Rav lose, or at least be in a tough position. So we'll see how Rav responds. We've been high rise, very sweepable map, but still, oh, it's tricky. And we'll be starting in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Portland note: transfer and fingerprint are the two disabled maps, or sorry, missions. So we will be looking at inspect and swap, and purloin as the ones on, except for the kind of guaranteed seduce, contact, and bug.
You say that I don't remember who did it, but I did see somebody take off bug at one point, and I think that's interesting. It's not a choice I would ever make, but yeah.
Yeah, do you remember who that silly person was at all?
It's such an odd move that I can't imagine anyone here making, and Nebula's definitely not confirming that it was him. Because he would never do that, because he's just one of those top level players like these two, the top two people. Uh, but anyway, we have two inspects on the board, and not much else. This I don't mind not going for Flirt right away because obviously it's high rise. You're going to be watching Flirt because it's high rise. So the fact that we don't have Flirt, I'm not too um, like crazy about, but we are going to need to do that at some point.
Purloin green. We are one of the only highlights, only because of the statue visits, I presume. Are we? I mean, we don't have. Okay, here's a big moment on whether or not there's a take here. There is a take here. So the purloin does happen, and I mean, it all comes down to this, right? The reaction of the purloin is going to be everything. Um, so far it's looking slowly good. Okay, we have a hesitation on. Nope, we do end up. Yeah, we seem to be narrowing further and further in with every second that passes. Only three people, not low lit. We're gonna be taking a normal drink at this point, which probably is only make things worse for us. I think it's over. Oh, maybe we think teal wasn't split, but I think this game's over. Yep, there it is. Unfortunate for us, teal splits like right as that banana bread happens. So it is possible that you think that it's like a frame perfect green banana bread leave, and that you get really worried about teal trying to throw a bail in there, and then Rob could banana bread again in a moment. But again, knocks out Seek, which is only in the other non-highlights. So then it was down to just two, and then it was enough of a weirdness with the leave that it looked clean enough. So honestly, not a bad game. We really, really, really would like to have that chain to have gone on longer than it did. It was going to go on for like if SD doesn't take there's not another drink take until us, so we would have had the option for an option for a take into a natural take into white into sorry it's looking like a white take for the next person. So Rob rolls the dice, doesn't come up, and that's it. That's the set.
Yeah, really, really surprisingly close set, despite the fact it's 6-9, which is still a nice scoreline. But I mean, it felt way closer given the fact that there were only like 3 spy wins throughout that. And notably, what I said before, Rob was at a 50% spy win rate, and now is at 41% apparently, which is a great big dip and really shows that Mini did very well on the sniper side there.
Yeah, and it does now put Rob in an interesting position where now there's actually a really good size pileup towards the top of the league. So before this game, we were saying that Rob was looking really good, probably the best position. Now it's probably Legorv. I don't think Legorv and Rob have played yet, or did they? No, they haven't played yet. I don't think, right? So that's going to be huge, of course. OP is in the mix still, even though 4-2. So OP is going to be in the conversation. Adafi Yesh is probably going to drop down, like we mentioned at the start. Adafi Yesh has played. Well, they and actually no, I said that, but actually Adafi Yesh is in the same position as OP because they just had 2 ties instead of the losses. So we have 6 games done for the top 2 with 8 points. So they're both in the conversation. Legorv has 5 games and 8 points, so he's looking better than the 2 of them. Rob has 5 games done and 7 points, so kind of like not quite up there with Legorv, but maybe considered positioned better than OP and Adafius just barely, but really, really matters how they finish out. And then Miniorek is going to be still down just a little bit below. So Miniorek still has a tough path to go, but maybe has secured themselves at least out of the bottom 2.
Uh, yeah, really, this is honestly a really tense. Like any of those top 4, I could see winning. I don't think Mini has a chance to make it into the top 2, but Mini could still make it into the top 4. So Mini's not completely out of getting demoted. I think the other 3 probably are, but either way, I think that all of the again all the players at the top can absolutely take the win here. It's very exciting.
Absolutely. And of course, the other big storyline is Wrestler needs to bump up his sniper percentage 1% so that we can call sniper broken at all levels and say that no matter what, they always have a 50% more. So, Wrestler, get on that. We need that narrative. But other than that, yeah, it's yeah, that's great though. I love the top players being a little bit stressed, and also that we have a mix. Like we don't see anybody totally dominating. No one is just running away with it and just sweeping everybody. The Legorv Rov match is going to potentially throw that into a little bit of disarray because if Legorv comes away with that 5-0-1, that's pretty solid. So very excited for that and very excited for the rest of the league in general.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to see that later because that's not this week. Yep.
That is indeed true. All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching this cast. The game is Spy Party. You can go to www.spyparty.com, Google Spy Party, do whatever. Spy Party is easy to find. It's pretty well search engine optimized. So go look for it and buy it. And we have been, I am Slappy Davis. I've been joined today by Guggy and hosting silently one of the top 100 Spy Party players, Nebula. And we will see you hopefully next time.